what's the relationship between sentient singularity theory and geometric unity?
I think that, I see patterns in geometric unity that I've also found in sentient singularity theory, and I see those patterns in other people's theories as well, but that I think are more or less getting at the truth. But I would say that geometric unity, I think, is a good road for physics to go down, because if it's possible. I mean, there's multiple reasons why that could be difficult, even if geometric unity is true, or mostly true. But there are geometric unity, the place in which the philosophical cosmological model that geometric unity exists within is very similar to sentient singularity theory, and it's been described by Eric Weinstein before as, he says, talking about AGI and the simulation hypothesis, and if you combine these two ideas, then you get kind of this chain of truth that essentially is that we are within some system that is self-simulating, but it's not. I don't like the term. It's actually like a replication, but it is computational. But it's not just it's not computational in traditional computing terms. It's quantum computational, but it's technological, I would say. And so there's we can get into that, but if you'd like. But there is a lot of overlap. I see a lot of similar quantities popping up. His 14-dimensional observerse, I've had some talks with him about it, seems to be a structure that is found in my work, and I don't want to say it is definitely the same thing, but I would say that because I don't want to tell you what his is, it's his model, but from what I've heard him say on different podcasts and from what he has told me when I've spoken to him about it, it seems to me to be basically what I think that we're looking at the same thing. But even if we're not, even if it's not exactly the same, the 14-dimensional structure that is responsible for the 14-dimensional observers is the same structure that's responsible for my 14 dimensions of maneuvering that I have, that is the overlap between space-time and time-space, essentially. And so that's what I think, that my 14 dimensions of space-time and time-space, of nested space-time within time-space, is basically his 14-dimensional observers. But I will say that their language in which we use is different, and the methodology that we use is different. He's got a mathematical background that I don't, and that mathematics is a language, and if geometric unity is described in the language of mathematics, then it's not as fundamental as sentient singularity theory, where it's kind of mathematics is built because quantities is built, and then mathematics comes from quantities. But and also he has stated this, and I don't really agree with him on this, but if it is true, then it limits the fundamentality of geometric unity, even if it doesn't discredit it. It is that he said a theory of everything, again, a term I don't like, but or a fundamental theory does not need to include a proposed origin of the universe, and that should be left to philosophers and theologians. And then he also stated that it doesn't need to be self-contained, which kind of, that's part of that, but it's also another aspect of being self-contained is that the theory follows the pattern that it describes, which is kind of like, it's like this meta pattern within the theory. and it would do that naturally. You wouldn't have to try. My theory does do those two things. So in that way, I would say geometric unity is different than sentient singularity theory, but the general implications seem to be very similar beyond that.